In December 2025, the Norwegian government released a definitive roadmap for the nation's future. The government's plan for Norway, 2025-2029. It is a document designed to signal security, economic growth, and stability for the coming years. It promises to secure the economy, the health system, and the upbringing of our children. But if you look closer, there is a deafening silence. In a document spanning the entire national strategy, the Sami people, Norway's indigenous population, are not mentioned once. Neither are the words indigenous rights nor reindeer husbandry. In the wake of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's historic report, which laid bare a century of forced assimilation, this omission is not just a mistake. The dereliction is significant. To understand why this silence matters, we must look at the foundation of the Norwegian state. Article 108 of the Constitution is clear. It states, "It is the responsibility of the authorities of the state to create conditions enabling the Sami people to preserve and develop its language, culture, and way of life." This is a positive obligation. It means the state cannot simply sit back and do no harm. It must actively facilitate Sami existence. When a government produces a strategic plan for the next 4 years that completely ignores this obligation, it isn't just bad policy. It is arguably unconstitutional. It treats Norway as a monocultural nation, erasing the binational reality that the Constitution itself enshrines. In June 2023, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission delivered a devastating verdict on Norway's history. They identified a phenomenon called minority political passivity. This describes a state that has stopped actively oppressing its minorities but has not yet committed to actively supporting them. This passivity creates an implementation gap. Rights are recognized in Oslo, in fine speeches and laws, but they disappear by the time they reach local planning documents and budgets. By excluding the Sami from the 2025 plan, the government is signaling to every bureaucrat and municipal leader that indigenous rights are a side issue, something to be handled by a specific department, rather than a central pillar of national strategy. Let's look at the specific pillars of the government's plan. It promises security for the economy and business. It speaks of green industry, energy exports, and land development. But in Sápmi, the Sami homelands, land is not just a resource, it is the basis of culture. The Supreme Court judgment in the Fosen case proved that green industrial projects can violate human rights if they destroy the grazing land necessary for reindeer husbandry. By promoting industrial growth without mentioning these competing rights, the government's plan sets the stage for future conflict. It ignores the fourth pillar of reconciliation, conflict prevention. It implies that development will happen on the majority's terms, regardless of the cost to the indigenous livelihood. The plan also prioritizes security for children and youth, focusing on reading skills and inclusion. But what about the Sami child? The Truth and Reconciliation Commission documented a crisis in Sami education, a desperate shortage of teachers and a lack of learning materials. For a Sami child, security includes the statutory right to learn their own language. When the national plan fails to mention this crisis, it signals that the state does not view the violation of Sami children's rights as a national emergency. It reinforces the invisibility that leads to language loss, a direct continuation of the assimilation policies of the past. Perhaps most critical is the section on security for the country. The plan focuses heavily on the strategic importance of the High North. But the North is Sápmi. Historically, security policy was used as a pretext for Norwegianization. The state viewed the Sami as potentially disloyal. To plan for the security of the North without engaging the people who have lived there for millennia is a strategic error. Total defense relies on the trust of the local population. By rendering the Sami invisible in the security narrative, the plan treats the North merely as a territory to be defended by the state, rather than a region inhabited by a people with rights. On top of that, one can observe the counterproductive aspect of the confrontational and provocative way the omission appears. A plan for Norway that ignores the Sami is not a plan for the whole country. It is a plan for a Norwegianized state that, legally, no longer exists. Constitution Paragraph 108 demands more than silence. It demands active facilitation. If we are to move from the darkness of the past into a reconciled future, the silence must be broken. The government must move from passivity to action. Because you cannot secure the future of a nation while ignoring the people who helped found it.